Alrighty, so um, in here, I'm going to show you how to do some stuff on Arma tools. Alright, so I already have it open, so here we go. Another map is one of my maps that I've been working on with for an RP server called River Valley. Alright, so first things first, in order to create your map, you're going to want to open up so create yourself a little folder here or a project inside of the home page. Alright, now you'd start off here. So you don't even want to do anything over here. Just go straight to this button here, the world editor. Alright. Once you open up that world editor, you will spawn in just an area with water. Or not even water, just the sky. So come down to this little button right here, create. Once you click create, you can come up here and search up terrain. Once you click terrain, it's going to be this very first one, generic terrain entity. Place this anywhere on the map. Once you do that, go ahead and click save up here. It'll tell you basically to insert a name for your map. All right. So insert a name for your terrain and your world, and then you can go ahead and put it inside of your project folder. All right. So mine's right here. All right. Once you do that, you're gonna see a pop-up that tells you basically how big do you want your map. Do you want it to be a 6 kilometer, 3 kilometer, or a 15 kilometer? All right. So therefore, you will go ahead and throw in your how big you want the map to be. All right. Once you do that, click create. Now you're gonna see a grid styled thing on your map. It'll be all gray. So we obviously need to paint it to make it grass. All right. So you can come up to this place up here, just the terrain tool. Once you do that, you can come over here to the paint tool. Now you're going to see no resources here. So what I recommend doing, or what you got to do, is you got to come over to this terrain thing and all these common and then surfaces. So Arma, Reforger, terrains, common, surfaces. You can select all of these by selecting the very top one and then shift clicking all the way down here and basically dragging and dropping those over there. All right. Once you drag all those over here, you will see they pop up over here. Now, one thing that is a very is an issue I haven't figured out yet with tools, but when you use grass here, it decides to make the grass white. All right, so as you can see, it makes it white. One thing I recommend doing is downloading a mod called Mall's Terrain Textures. Right, and then if I do publish this to YouTube, I will go ahead and post that link under in the description to this mod here. Alright, so in here they have terrains, common, surfaces, and you can drag these into there. And then I like to use this bush v grass, alright, because it looks the most like normal grass, but it has some other cool stuff up in here as well. Okay, but anyways, once you do that, the sculpting tool here, you can sculpt things up, or like so. Or, do that. You can use the flatten tool. This is what I recommend using for like if you're gonna use mountains and stuff like that, because you can bring it up like this. You can come over to the smooth option. You can smooth it out to make it look like a little mountain or hill. Right? A little shortcut for you if you want to delete things, or if you want to turn the radius up on your things. So you can do Control Z to undo stuff. You can do hold Control and then move your mouse forward and backwards, left, right, and that'll basically change the radius a little bit faster than coming up over here and doing it. Alright. You have the noise tool. Now what this noise tool does is, yeah, this. All right. You have this stuff here, so if you want to do your terrain a little bit better, what I recommend doing is coming over to your paint tool. Say you want to use, like, your main resource is going to be this bush V grass. Click this fill surface layer. All right, once you do that, click yes, and all of your gray terrain will be moved over to that. Okay, so you want to make roads. Click this little thing right here, this button. So for roads, you want to do a spline tool. So you place one down. I recommend deleting the first little block there, and then you can use control and then click, and that'll teleport the block or the other part of the line. All right, and then it'll automatically curve and all that good stuff. All right, and then you're gonna want to walk yourself up to the Arma Reforger. Arma Reforger, prefabs. Down to the WE generators, you have roads. I recommend using the asphalt with the dashed line. So what you would do is you would throw that into there, and there you have your road. All right. One thing Arma likes to do when you first grab a road is it likes to toggle this on. You might want to disable that to make your road flat on the terrain instead of making it, taller and bumpy. One thing to get rid of this grass here is I would just paint over some asphalt or paint over, whatever to make the grass flat. Um, so inside of your terrain or your world thing that comes automatically, what you want to do is you want to make your sky preset the atmosphere. All right, so you can type in atmosphere and then change that to that. For your planet preset, you want to make it sun, moon, clouds, distance, stars. You want to change this clouds render to sky vol clouds render. All right, and then your clouds preset will be the cloud volumetric. Your ocean material could be ocean. Ocean simulator, it could be the ocean sim island. For your shore, it could be shore sim base. And for your lens flares config, it can be the lens flares config. Okay. All this stuff down here, I don't have to mess with it right now. If you want to mess with it later on down the road, you can. And then quickly, what you would probably want to do once you get all of that settled down is make sure your terrain is, good and even with the water. All right. And then therefore, what I like to use to make these separated is inside the terrain tool you can sculpt, and then what I like to do is come over to the flatten thing, and since your terrain should be at 0, you can do a -1000 flattening stuff, and that'll basically bring all of that down, you know, um, deep enough to where people can swim inside of it. All right. If you want to bring it down more, feel free to. All right. Like if you want to expand the ocean and stuff, but that is all preferences. Um, and then also come back to this thing if you want to make sidewalks. Sidewalks are going to be the polyline. They work the exact same. Place that down. I'm going to delete the first one because that's what I like to do. All right. You can control and then just click your mouse wherever you want the sidewalks to go. The only difference is you have to go to pavements. They have asphalt, concrete, and tile. The asphalt ones do not look bad, but I personally like to use the tile ones. So in the tile ones, they have the narrow and wide. The wide ones, I like to use those because they are pretty decent size and give, pretty good, um, walking distance and all that good stuff. Okay, you can always expand those by moving the pylons and all that. You can also scale them with this thing, and they will move perfectly fine. You can do if you wanted to do trees, you can grab the polygon. All right, so trees work with the polygon. All right, so with the polygon, you just make trees. You can do circles, squares. Here, I'll give an example real quick. All right, so say I want a little forest of pine trees. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there, and there's my forest of pine trees. You can always expand it, like I said, like I can grab this little thing here and say expand it that way. My trees will move with it, and it'll also put more trees in the other places. All right. So that is that. Um, you can have it snap to the terrain. I like to keep this enabled so it's automatically stuck to the terrain. All right. That way I don't have, trees floating over here, over here, over here. All right. Let's see. For the replacing your buildings, pretty simple. Just want to make sure they look realistic. All right. So, yep, you can find gates in here and all that. Your object properties here. So inside your object properties, you have a mesh object and a rigged body. Mesh object here, you can change the stuff that's inside of the building. So like say I want to change what the ceilings look like in here. I can go ahead and change this emap file here. All right, what emap files are just materials. So now I changed that roof and it looks like that. Now if I press this, it goes back to normal. Some don't do that. All right. All right. It is also going to be bright, so in this part 2 of this video, I will go ahead and show you guys more of the time and weather manager here. All right. And more of how to actually get this sun to not be so bright, because as y'all can see, if I load in here, it's going to give me some errors because I don't have a lot of things set up yet, but spawn in, it is bright as bright. All right. It's as bright as it's going to get, and yes, I am going to die, and don't know if I'm going to spawn in. Alright, probably not, because we don't have a spawn set or anything like that. And I will show that in a couple other videos. But as you can see, once you load in, you're going to be bright as heck. So, and yeah, you can paint. Now, one thing that is pretty tricky when it comes to new people making stuff is I can have some of this here, or I can have like some of this and some of this, and then we can grab some of this. Okay, and then yeah, that's where it tops off. All right. So as you can see, these are all like separated into squares and stuff. Since I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 materials already in here, I cannot have any more. Okay, so what I would do to get rid of these ones in here is I can merge them all to the resource or the material I want to use. All right, and that would get rid of them. Or I can click replace. Now, as you can see, none of these materials match with the Debris coal, so I cannot switch it. Okay, but as you see these other ones as well, they're all, like that. No, you cannot select multiple, or you got to do it all one by one, just like this. All right. Let's see. To import mods, remember you can come up to this file. Hold up. You can come up to the file in here on your home screen page. You can select project settings and you can click this thing right here. And you can put your file. One thing I recommend is not having empty things here. So you can come up here and click this little minus button here. All right. And then here, this log console is where your errors will show up. Okay. You have your particle editor for editing the particles, animation editor for making animations and editing animations, a script editor to do scripting on. You can make an audio editor, so like horns, radios, all kinds of stuff in there. String editor is for, I don't know, I haven't really been in the string editor much, or any of these last three have not done, but I believe this behavior editor is basically the how the AIs behave and stuff like that. Yeah, and then when connecting your map to a game server, one thing I like to do is I like to grab the scenario ID from the project. So one thing I like to do is go to, first of all, your project. Now I'm gonna have to show you guys in a different project since I do not have that one set up correctly. So you can go to your project, you'll have missions, which I will explain in the next video. Here you will see world. Right next to world, you have these things in quotations. You want to highlight these two things. Okay, and this is the raw scenario ID if your server host provider does not allow you to do the automated one. But here, since I am here right now, I will show you guys how to make a scenario. So you create your map. All right. You come up to this plugins up here, and there's a thing called game mode setup. You can select that. You can choose game master, conflict, scenario framework. Game master works with scenarios to actually allow you to have that game master thing. So here, what I like to do is you can scan it or you can skip it. I'm going to scan it, and it's going to tell you you're missing a subscene. All right. So that's why I don't scan it. So I'm going to skip that. It's going to ask me if I want to create the entities. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. That way I can grab the entities that I need. So you can click next and create a header. Click yes to all. Once you do that, it's going to bring you to this page. You can put your name of your map. You can put just a name here. It doesn't have to be an email, unless this will be shared publicly. All this information on here. Or you could put some icons, loading screen, preview images. I would recommend creating an image folder. All right, so just like this. All right, I'd rather recommend do this. Create an image folder, and you come in here and import images into here, and just drag the EDDS file over into these three here. All right, once you do that, this will create a scenario for you. All right. And these new things here are going to help us with the part 2 of this video. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And I hope you guys enjoy this video.